MyCogo contains additional functionality that is useful during a webinar, and let's take a few minutes to learn more about that additional functionality. The first function we're going to take a look at is the whiteboard function. It basically is a function that enables you to comment directly on your screen, to circle things, to write text, draw arrows, etc. Basically to use navigation aids during the presentation that help get your point across. So the first thing that we do to get started with the whiteboard tool is to basically, within our interface, we have to select the tool that corresponds with whiteboard. And as we start here, it kind of looks like a pencil up top. That's the one that we're actually going to go with. And when we select that tool, one of the things that you notice is that one, you get what's called the whiteboard toolbar that is made available, and the other thing you see is what's called balloon help. Now the balloon help is actually something that you can turn off in the preferences function, which is one that we will take a look at towards the end of this particular segment. And whiteboard has many tools available to it. It has a annotation tool, has the ability to set colors, actually gives you the ability to make shapes right on the screen, to put in text and to erase, as well as to save a file. It also has interesting capability that enables you to give annotation control to other people so that they can make comments on the screen. We're actually going to spend time taking a look at the most useful of these functions, which is making annotations on the screen. You enter the annotation or comments function by clicking on the arrow, and what you see after clicking is a list of all the various types of annotations that are available to you. We're going to stick with the first one, which is a pencil, but as you can see, you can draw a line, you can make various shapes, you can also add arrows to your document as well. When you click on the arrow on the corner, you'll actually get this drop down of all of the options, and then you can click the one you want. In our case, we're going to click on the pencil right up top. Once we've clicked on the pencil, you will see that the pencil becomes the icon here to indicate that it's selected. The drawing board tool is highlighted in green to indicate that we have that particular tool open. And notice how the participants also continues to be highlighted in green, and that is because we do have the participant window open. If you'd like to close the participant window and unhighlight, just click on the X here, but we will go ahead and leave it open for now. Once you've selected your particular whiteboard tool and we've selected the pencil, the other option you have is to also click on the color palette right next to it to select a different color. Currently it shows that blue is selected, and we're actually going to stick with blue, but if you wanted to go with red or green or yellow, then you can select one of those colors within here as well. Okay, we're going to go to our next slide to continue. And what we see on our next slide is we actually are going to take the pencil annotation tool, and as we said, these tools all enable you to comment on the screen, to highlight particular objects or ideas that you're trying to bring to people's attention. So in this case, I've kind of done something that's a little personal in nature. As you all see, I have the Expendables on my desktop, and I want to highlight particular individuals that are part of the Expendables team. So I've left the pencil selected, and then I've gone up and actually circled Bruce Willis, one of our most acclaimed bad boys, and he's done a lot of action movies. And then the other person that I really like a lot, actually I like all these guys, but these are the ones I'll just highlight during this particular discussion, is Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, and he's made quite a few movies and gone around the world destroying different places. And then the other guy I'll highlight is Rolf Lundgren, and he's a great guy. And I know this all happened in the movies, but quite honestly, I'll never forgive him for beating up on Rocky so bad. And yeah, that was in the movie, but still, I don't like it, and I think about it every time I see him on the screen today. So we've basically used the annotation tool, the pencil tool within the annotation tool, to highlight those three to help us with the discussion. Now, once you've done highlights of any type, there's another tool called the eraser tool that you can use to erase those particular highlights that you've made, and it actually is right on the toolbar, and it looks exactly like an eraser. And within the eraser tool, you actually have two options available to you. You have the erase all, which erases everything, all the annotations that have been made, or you just have the eraser. And when you click the eraser, you'll literally have a cursor that looks like an eraser, and you can use it to just go around and erase specific annotations that you've made on the screen. We are, for the sake of urgency, going to do an erase all, which is going to erase all of the annotations that have been made so far. Now, keep in mind as we move on to chat that you can also choose to, within whiteboard, put text on the screen as well, and that's the ABC button here, which we have not selected. You can also save your desktop as well as all the annotations with the save dialog or save button that is actually right behind erase all here. Actually, we can see that if we zoom in on the previous icon. It looks like a little save icon, diskette, universal symbol for saving. Okay, we're now going to go to the next screen and talk about another common function within Mycogo that's available for use during a session, and that is the chat function. Chat function is really nice in that it allows an alternate means of communications. During the session, you're talking to each other via telephone. However, you may want to send a message to people in such a way that it doesn't interrupt the verbal flow within the meeting, and chat gives you the ability to do that. Now, the chat command, again, looks like a person with the little comment window above it, and when you click on that, you actually get the chat dialog open. And once the chat dialog is open, you then get a little window where you can type in your comment. Also within the chat dialog, you can indicate if your text comment is going to everyone or if it's going just to a particular person. Now, since it's only me and Eddie on this particular session, it's a moot point, because if I click all or Eddie, it's going to go to both of us basically. But if there were more than two people on the conference, you could choose to select a particular individual, and then whatever you type will only be seen by that particular individual. Now, once I type in my text message and indicate the recipient and then press send, that message is actually displayed up top to indicate that it's already been shared with others, and then the participants in the webinar on their end will actually see a flashing Mycogo icon on their end. So for Mac users, as we said before, that flashing M is up top. For Windows users, it actually is down at the bottom in the lower right corner. And once you click on that flashing icon and see that a message has been sent to you, you will actually get a similar window where you can type in a response. So once you type in your response to that message and press send on your end, then I, as the presenter, or the person who sent that message will see your response up type. And again, keep in mind that all folks who have installed the full program do have the chat function available to them. So I, as a presenter or host, can chat with participants, or the participants can chat amongst themselves. There are also some additional tools within MyCogo that we won't spend time looking at in great detail, but I do want to point them out to you. The first of which is the application tool, which is right next to chat. The application tool enables you to select whether you want to share your entire desktop or if you want to share a specific application. So for example, if you only wanted people to see what you're displaying within Adobe Acrobat and to not see other applications such as Mail that's running on your desktop, then you could go in here and select Adobe Acrobat, and that's the only thing that they would see on the other end. The other common application people would select, of course, is Microsoft PowerPoint. The next tool that is available is File Transfer Tool, and this is really useful if during the discussion you actually have a file that you want to share with everyone who's participating in the webinar. In general, I use this tool very little, however it's good to know that it's there. But as a good best practice, any files that you want to share as part of your webinar, you really want to do that in advance before the webinar starts so that people have that information available to them. And then the other function that's available to you is settings. I like to just call this preferences, but basically this is where you would go in and set customize the environment. You can actually customize it to only allow certain tools to be available. For example, if you didn't want the chat tool to be available during your webinar, then you can go in here and turn off the chat tool. This is also where you can turn off balloon help. So as you go from tool to tool, you won't get the balloon help menu. I also want to point out before we continue here that keep in mind that all of the icons up top continue to be selected, and that just means that the window for that particular icon is open below. So if you wanted to unselect the chat function, then click on the X to close the chat window. If you want to unselect whiteboard, then click on the X to not unselect, but really unhighlight chat or unhighlight the whiteboard. And also similarly with participant list, if you want to unhighlight the participant list, go ahead and close the participant list icon down below.